What is up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crowded Lake, and today we are reading chapters 11 and 12 of Bad Guy by Bekka911 on Wattpad. If you'd like to support the author or the fic, you could go look in my description for the links for the Wattpad story and the author. That would be great. In the description, there's also a link to a Google form where you could recommend Wattpad Read Alouds for the future. It does not need to be from Wattpad, and it could be from any author. As long as the fic is PG-13, you could submit it. Congratulations, you have taken ownership of this show. And with that, let us move on to chapter 11. It's been days since he'd been out of his room. He wasn't sure the others had noticed his absence, but that was okay. They were all better off without him anyway. "You do actually need to eat," Derek said from behind his bed as anxiety lingered by his desk. He was unbelievably twitchy, but he supposed that was just from his depression. As much as I support the whole lock yourself away and drown in sadness, you need food to live. It doesn't matter. Anxiety muttered. "I don't." Derek sighed. "This isn't healthy." "So?" Anxiety shot back. "You warned me about this right at the start. I'm accepting the fact that I don't really mean anything. Isn't that the whole point of this?" "No," Depression said softly. "You are much more than what you think you are." "I doubt that." Anxiety scoffed, beginning to scratch softly at his neck. "You've learned this lesson, Anxiety. You're essential to Thomas and his life." "So why does no one else understand that?" The distressed personality cried. "Why don't they yell at me for it? It's not my fault." His knees buckled and he slipped to the floor. It's not my fault. I'm not the bad guy here." The familiar wave crest suddenly, and he was swept along in a rush of panic, static, and sense of loss. Derek just watched him break down because although he may sympathize, it was not his place to offer comfort. Sadness did not offer happiness. "Anxiety?" He uncurled from his position on the floor and very quickly hid the proof of his tears with makeup. Plastering his usual scowl on his face, he opened the door, coming face to face with a concerned Patton. "Hey, kiddo," the parental trait said. "Why are you ignoring our summons? Thomas is making a video and you didn't show up." Sorry," he said sullenly. "I was too busy doing nothing to show up." Patton frowned. "You okay, kiddo?" "I'm fine," he responded curtly. "Look, let's just go if it's that important." Oh, okay then." Reluctantly, he popped up, instantly shrinking back as all eyes shot to him. "This is kind of sad." "How do you have anything negative to bring to this, Anxiety?" Thomas stressed. "We're talking tunes, Dr. Gloom," Prince shouted. Inside, Anxiety was fuming, but he tried to keep his cool. He really wasn't in the mood for this. Yeah, Logan wasn't a blossom of enthusiasm either, but sure, make me the antagonist." "Every time, you always make me the bad guy." "Okay, I will," Roman sneered. Anxiety curled his lip. "I hate you so much." "Okay," Logan interrupted the growing argument. "What were you saying?" Anxiety sighed. "I was saying, it's kind of sad how wonderful those worlds are. Everything works out fine in cartoons. Why can't we live in those worlds instead?" "Because then everything would be easier. That's not how the world works." He gritted his teeth. Thomas spoke his thought pattern. "Gotta say, this feels like a bit of a reach." Can I finish?" he snapped, frustrated with people not listening to him. Can I finish my thought? Can I finish what I was saying?" Thomas nodded meekly. "They're wonderful," he droned, "and you can never actually be a part of them." Who would want to live in a cartoon where Logan started, but Roman cut him off. Oh my goodness, that would be the most epic thing! Logan sighed. Question answered. And then anxiety tuned out. Stuck on autopilot, he mindlessly spat out answers to questions that they asked him, adding his commentary without even thinking about it. Then he was a cartoon. Surprise! I'm the bad guy. And then it all just abruptly ended. But we all know anxiety is the fairest of them all. He blinked. Roman looked around sheepishly. Come on, guys. It was a pale joke. Good one, he sneered. I've had enough for today. Please, anything to get out of here. When are you going to tell them? Derek's voice was quiet and anxiety gritted his teeth. They don't need to know. Don't they deserve to know why suddenly you're shutting them out? They've shut me out for all of my existence, he snarled. Why should I treat them any different? Derek was silent for a heartbeat. It shows you're the bigger person. Anxiety laughed coldly, his chest filled with an ash and dust. I'm nothing like that. You should try to be. There'd be no point. You don't know that. Yes, I do. And that was that. Chapter 12. Roman stared at the table in shock. Logan? Patton said softly, voice trembling. Are you sure? Logic dipped his head, face blank and neutral. I have done my research, and it adds up. This is the only reason for anxiety's behavior. You're saying it like he has no choice but how he behaves, Roman said. Surely it was his original behavior that caused this. Yes, well, Logan cleared his throat and straightened his glasses. While that is true, anxiety's attitude and apathetic self-view have been heightened recently, and after the anxiety medication, it comes as no shock to me that his negativity has manifested as depression. Anxiety pills you told Thomas to take, Patton said tiredly. He hadn't forgiven, nor had he forgotten. Logan disregarded the comment. At first, I believed it to be a depressive episode, though on further investigation, it does appear that something or someone is amplifying anxiety's negative feelings. So, what do we do? Patton whispered. Well, what can we do? Roman said. This is anxiety's depression. We can't fight this battle for him. He has to do it himself. And I have no intentions of doing so. Anxiety's voice was calm and cool, betraying nothing as he surveyed the area. He met Roman's eyes, baring his teeth in challenge. He smirked when he saw the fanciful side look away. Logan didn't miss the vulnerability on the anxious side's face before he wiped it away and settled on a blank sort of cruel amusement. Salutations, Anxiety, Logan greeted calmly. I assume you heard a majority of our conversation? Our private conversation? Roman corrected, skin prickling in unease as he tried to best not to look directly at Anxiety's face. Anxiety snorted. Wasn't very private if you were talking in the kitchen. And besides, you guys always are talking about me anyway, so it's really no shock. Kiddo, Patton began, but Anxiety held up his hand. Spare me the excuses. He sighed. I've heard it all before. Look, let me just say, Derek is none of your business, so leave him and me alone. Derek? Roman repeated. You gave it a name? Roman? Patton scolded quietly, and Anxiety's eyes grew icy. You have a name, do you not? He said sharply. So why should my depression not? Is it because you think that it's a disorder? Just like anxiety is a disorder? Is it because you can't fathom how a disorder has a name and personality? Because aren't disorders monsters? That's not what I meant, Roman protested feebly. Oh, I'm sure, Anxiety scoffed. Look, say what you want about me, but leave my personal life out of it. How do you feel about your depression? Logan asked suddenly, settling his elbows on the table and resting his chin in his hands. Anxiety eyed him warily, clearly considering whether or not Logan was baiting him for something. I finally have someone to talk to, I guess. But what? Roman spluttered. You have us! You don't get it, do you? Anxiety hissed. I'm not part of your buddy group, never have been and never will be. You aren't my friends. That's partly your fault, Roman argued. We try and get you through to you, and you shut us out. Well, what am I supposed to do? Anxiety snapped, throwing his hands in the air. You mock me, blame me when things go wrong. I do my job and you yell at me. My name is Anxiety. That is my brand. My name is a brand on me. I am not going to be civil with you when you are less than civil to me. Oh, is all Roman managed. Derek understands that. Anxiety finished, dangerously close to crying. He understands what it's like not to fit in. We didn't know, Patton said quietly, and Anxiety scoffed. You didn't bother to look past the makeup and the scowl. Of course you didn't know. We're sorry, Roman said quickly. Save it, Anxiety said. I've heard it all before. Will you just stop? Roman exploded, his temper beyond his control. He was tired and stretched, and something about Anxiety made him feel wrong. Just stop. Stop what? Anxiety shot back. Come on, if there's something I'm doing wrong, then tell me what it is. Just stop breathing, Prince muttered childishly. That would be good. Anxiety's eyes widened, his face paling. There it is, he whispered. Patton's shocked gasp was still audible as Anxiety turned around and walked away, his bitter laugh echoing off the halls. Roman! Patton yelled. Why would you say that? Roman slumped. I don't know. He's heard it before. Why should it bother him now? Logan cleared his throat. Do you lack brain cells? He asked. Anxiety has his own personal depression. It has grown attached, and obviously Anxiety relies heavily on it. Despite having heard it before, his heightened negative thinking will most likely cause a mental breakdown, possibly pushing him to suicide and self-harm. Patton dissolved into tears, and Roman closed his eyes. I can't simply apologize for this, can I? No! Patton stood up, scrubbing his face. I'm sick of both of you. You don't get it, do you? Patton? Patton shook his head, looked at them with disgust, and then turned and fled. Roman looked down at his head and sighed. Logan hummed quietly. Thomas must be feeling confused, he said casually. All this raised tension and wild emotions. Does the gravity of the situation not bother you? Roman questioned, guilt burning in his stomach. Logan shrugged. I have calculated all possible outcomes. Most of them aren't too harmful for Thomas. I doubt that Anxiety will do anything drastic, as he cares for our host as well, so no, I'm not too bothered with the situation. You did play a part in this. And I regret that I did, but it is beyond my control now. Roman shook his head. I can't believe you sometimes. Logan tilted his head. I am not a fictional character to believe in. I mean, I can't understand some of the decisions you make. I don't know how you can remain so calm and detached. It's not easy, the teacher admitted. I would love to join you and Patton in frivolous activities, but I have been labeled boring and unfeeling, so that is what I became. I don't think you're unfeeling, Roman confronted and comforted. Boring, yes, but only because you choose books over us. Well, I would much rather read books than slay an imaginary dragon witch. How dare you? Oh, I dare. Thank you all so much for listening. If you'd like to continue listening when the next chapters come out, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified when next week's episode arrives. Please support the author and the book by clicking the links in the description, as well as filling out the Google form to recommend fics. You could also support me by going to all my social medias in the description below. I do post Sanderside's cosplays on my TikTok daily, so if that is something you are interested in, please go ahead and follow me on TikTok. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and much like Roman trying not to just blurt out his words, do your best!